Hi, it's Big Al again with my simple process of doing my beginning boating. Today I'm going to rebuild my trim actuator. I already rebuilt a couple of them, so I just wanted to show you a quick way of how I do it. There's a lot of videos out there on YouTube that how you take it out, put in a vise and all this. I'll show you how to do it without even using a vise. And I'll show you how to do it, how I do the lines. I don't even disconnect the lines from the back of the actuator. I disconnect the lines from the reservoir. So let's get started. Okay, like I said, I'm going to disconnect these lines. One thing you got to remember is try not to get these lines mixed up. Otherwise, when you go up, the trim will go down. You go down, the trim will go up. The engine will go up. So what I do is I just try to put them on the opposite sides of where they are. Try to at least put them in the reservoir where they are. Now, I'll show you in a minute what I do. I don't disconnect from the actuator because those lines are too difficult and they might strip. I'm afraid they might strip. So what I do is I actually disconnect from the hydraulic pump. Then I take it and put it in the pump, in the motor. I actually put the lines inside of here. So I put them inside of here. When you start pushing that actuator, it's going to dump the fluid in there. You see, that's the left line, and I put this one like here. That's the right line, and I just leave them like that. Now, when I'm outside, and I push my actuators up and start pulling them up and down to try to get the seals out, to get the actuator out the unit, that fluid's going to go back into the reservoir, which will save some. Some still going to go outside, but the ones that push this way will go back into the reservoir, which is good. So let's go outside and check it out. Okay, we're going to start by removing this circlip. Obviously, you got to get the circlip off. Take the washer off. Take those two off. Now they're off. The biggest thing now, we got to get this pin out. That pin, you see, is hard to move. So what I do, I use my other hammer. So I need to move this pin out the other side. Now I got to start it moving. I use this end, not this end, because this is the size chisel I have. There's different chisels you can get. But I just start tapping it. And I tap it until I get it out. And once I get it out, I'll go back to that. Okay, so now the pin's almost out. There we go, now the pin is out. And after that, now we can lift the actuators up. This is the one I rebuilt, and is on this side. Okay. Pause. Now we got the pins out. Now we just push the actuator out of the way. I'm doing the right side because you look at it, look at all this corrosion on here. I rebuilt this seal we rebuilt this actuator about 6 months ago, and I seen all this pitting. But I said, well, let me see. I cleaned it up and put it down, but it didn't help. It started back leaking. So I'm going to rebuild it, but you're going to see it's real easy to rebuild it. So like I said, I just push it up and get started. And you see these lines? They're still connected. I mean, obviously the book will tell you. If you want to disconnect them here, you disconnect him. I just do mine from the back, let it pump in the reservoir. This fluid you see down here in this pan because I rebuilt the other one on the other side, and it's done. So now I'm going to rebuild this one. For both of them, all of them have really got some pitting on it. So they've been on here for a while. So I'm really pulling it off, changing this whole actuator assembly, this rod assembly, and I'm changing all the seals. So we'll turn back to you in a second. Okay, here's the spanner wrench I'm using to get this gem nut off, and I'll put that down below in my comments. So if you want to order, I got it from Amazon. But all you do, you're just going to put it in, get in here, you're going to break it loose. You're just going to keep turning it as you broke it loose. Now it's loose. You're going to keep turning it till this gem nut come off. So what I'll do is keep turning it till the gem nut come off. Once I get the gem nut off, then I'll show you guys how to do the rest of it. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm actually getting this gem nut off. I got it all broke loose. Should be coming out now. You're gonna see the fluid. Some fluid gonna start coming out. You'll see now the fluid comes down. It's okay, it's gonna drip into the bucket. What I used to do is just start pulling it. You're gonna see it's gonna have air in it. So I'm gonna keep pulling it. You gotta let it come back in because the air is going there. It's pushing the air back and forth from the reservoir. There you go, and that's it. And then once it's like that, I go and tilt this up so it's not being interrupted, and the fluid just sits there. And what I'll do now, here's the part I usually do to make it easier for myself to get this nut used off of here. That way I don't have to use the actually have to use the vise. Like I said, they tell you you can use the vise, but I usually don't. Because what you gotta do is I put this on, you gotta get this nut loose right here, this bolt. Otherwise you gotta put this in a vise to do it. I'll show you how to do it in 1 minute, so stand by. Okay, so now I put the pin back in just to support this so I can turn this, get this nut loose. The only thing we're doing is breaking the nut loose. The biggest thing, now I got this jam nut loose. Now I can actually take this out. The rest of it will be done on top of my toolbox or wherever you're going to do it. You had to get that loose. So now I got that loose. Now I'll take this back off and we'll go in the garage and rebuild it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take this piece off. Get this done. Okay, now we got this piece off. Now what you have is you got to take this off, and to get this off, this is just a nut, a bolt, the springs, 8 springs and washers, and then this is a seal inside it, and it just sits like this. So if you do like this, it should come out. There you go. Now this is out. Now that's what you got to do. Because now you're going to have, here's your bolt, here's your washer. See these like this? These should be up like this. You're going to take these all out. There's your spacer. You take these all out, and you're going to have 8 ball bearings that come out. They all came out. Now that's it. Now on the outside of this, now that's just that part. So we'll come back and we'll pause and go to the other part. Okay, so we're gonna, this has 3 seals. It has 2 of these like white phenolic seals, which I already took the other one off, and then it has this middle seal. Then it also has another white seal, which we'll get back to that later. And it also has a seal inside. This is a tricky one. Getting this seal, and that's a seal all the way in the middle. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a seal inside of here. So what we'll do when that seal goes around this boat. So what we'll do, I'll get that out, and then I'll put it back in, then I'll show you that.
So what tool you're using?
The scriber. Okay, so it looks like I got this seal out. Now this seal out, and here's the other seal that's going in. What I do is try to lubricate it. I got oil all in my hands, and it's tricky getting this seal in, because you got to put this seal in. What I used to do is put it in like this, then keep working it until I get it in. So let's get it in, and I'll show you when it's done. I start off like this. So let's go. So here it is. Like I said, you're putting it in at an angle. Then after that, you're going to just work it in that groove, okay? What I did, after I got in a little bit, I used this bolt and just kept pushing it. Once it got in the groove, I keep pushing it back and forth till it get in. Do not use this. You're going to poke a hole in it. And once I get in, it looks like it's in, and I just go like this and make sure it's settled. So now it's settled. You can see the bolt. So the seal's in there. Now it's in. So let's go to the next piece. Okay, so here we are. Like I said, I got the bolt in. I got the seal in, and it goes around the boat, and I just check it like this. And what I did, I used the bolt to keep pushing it as I got it, going back and forth, or whatever you do, don't use the scribe, and that's it. Now on this, you got like 2 phenolic strips. There's a phenolic strip. Here's another rubber. Here's a rubber piece that goes on in between the phenolic strip. And here's another phenolic strip. And as you see, these phenolic strips got grooves on them. And what they do, they kind of interlock. See that? But you don't want them together. You want to turn them opposite of each other. You don't want those grooves. Like, see that groove and that groove? So whatever you got to do to turn it, you turn it and you make them opposite. So now, opposite are away from each other. And now that's it like that. But what I usually do, I'm going to be honest, I put this on last because I'm going to be playing with screens. These springs and nuts. These bell bearings and this spacer and this pop-off. So what I was just doing was just showing you, but normally I will put this on last, okay? So I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, now I'm going to take the seals on this jam nut. But see all this corrosion on the shaft? That's why I'm changing this shaft. So I'm taking this off. And here's my new shaft right here. Looks nice, shiny. Obviously no corrosion. Hopefully no corrosion. It's brand new. But anyway, so I'm going to use that one. So this one's going to go over to the side. I'm not using that one. But here's what we're going to do with this. This is a pretty easy process. You get this scraper ring out. This is the scraper ring that gets the majority of the junk off of your actuator. So if you got mud or whatever you got on there, this gets it off first. You see it's coming off. Okay, it's a pain to get off. You see that? So once I get this off and I get to the new seal, I'll come back and show you, okay? That way you don't waste your time watching me dig this thing out. Okay, I got this seal out now. Like I said, it tore up pretty hard. But what you gotta do when you put this new seal in, see this right here? This goes on the outside like this. This don't go like this. It goes on the outside like this. That way when it's going to when it's coming down the actuator, it's scraping up this stuff. If you put it like this, it's on backwards. So you make sure you put it on like this, and you get in there, and you just press it around till it's in. Now it's in and it's flat. You can look from the inside and see on this side if it's flat. Like it's pretty flat. Everything looks even. So that's in now. Now you have a seal inside. You have another seal. Same thing with that. You're going to pop this seal out. It's easier to work with than the other seal I was showing you guys. So here's this seal. I'll take it out. Get rid of it. Here's our other seal. Lubricate it a little bit with my hands. Same thing. I just do the same thing. I put it on a little angle. And this one I use my fingers to support. So I'll put my finger on the other side and I just keep pushing it in until I get it in the middle, okay? And I'll come back once I get that done. So here we are. So I got this seal put in now, got the outer seal put in. Now I'm gonna slide on the actuator. Like I said, it goes like this. See that side? See this grooves right here? They should be on this side facing this. Because your thing's going up and down like this. And see how it's pushing that? It'll be pushing all that crud off before it actually gets to that seal. So that's on right. Got that on. Now we need to assembly these back. So like I said, here's where we go now. We got to put a bearing in each one. So once we will put a bearing in, then once you put the bearing in, you're going to put the spring on. Then you're going to put your spring on. That'll be till we get them all done. So I'll come back after I get them all in. Okay, this is the last one. Ball bearing goes. This spring goes. When you put the spring in, make sure the head of this, what I call like a nail, make sure that's down. That's how I was disassembled. Here's your spacer. It goes in the middle. Here's your washer. It goes on your nut, on your bolt. Then this goes in. Now, keep in mind, this is actually hitting that seal. That's why I stopped right there. It won't go any further. You got to try to press it. And what you can do is press it in your vise. So some people, you just keep pushing like this and keep pushing it and push it till you get it to go down. And here's what I do. And here's what I do myself, and it worked out. Last time I've done this a couple times. I just hold it like this and come down like this. Okay, so like I said, you could press it in with a vise. What I used to do is hold it with my hand and just hit it. And there it is, it's in. Everything's in. The bolt's back in, the springs are on, ball bearings are on. You could turn it to make sure it's turning smooth, which is turning smooth. Then after that, that's it. Now you're going to screw this back on to the end. So we're going to screw this back on to the end. I'm going to tighten this as tight as I can until I get it in the boat. And when I put it in the boat, I'll put my final torque on it. Okay, that's tight. I'll finish tightening once I get on the boat, and it's pretty tight. I don't know what the exact torque is, but I'm going to just tighten it. Okay, so now we got that on. Remember, this was the last piece I tell you I do. So what you do, you got to have a phenolic strip. So you have a phenolic strip, they open up. Then you have a seal. Like I said, I do this last because I want to get everything else done. This is the last thing. Otherwise, you keep touching these seals and phenolic strips over and over, then they pop it off, and it just becomes a nuisance. Once you get them all in there, they'll be lined up. Like I say, just make sure they're not. As long as the slits aren't together, you're in good shape. Now, this is the difficult part, and what some people I've seen other people do this, and they say they put. I looked at some of their other YouTube videos on how they say they do it. Mine's a little different, but what they do, they tell you to use. Some say take a Coke can, cut it, put it over there because it's real thin, slide it on. Some say just put it on. What I've noticed, if you get the kit, like I got this kit, this is a replacement kit for OMC Cobra stern drive. As long as you got these phenolic strips that goes on with the seals, this seems to work better than these plastic ones. These plastic ones just constantly move, and that's another kit I get from Star Marine. Both of them got some advantages and disadvantages, but I don't like these. I like those phenolic ones, and I got some other ones too. I don't have a show, but they're made out of. They're even really hard, and I like them. But then what I do is I put them. They seem to hold it like this. With this plastic one, they just keep opening and sliding. Then once I get in the boat, I just Okay, so now I'm back at the boat. Like I said, I got the Finalix ring on. I got the seal on in the middle. I'm gonna tighten this up some more. Get it back tight. Okay, now I got that tight. I just tighten it till it stops. And it's not like it's a super bunch of torque. So now we got this on. Like I said, here's the tricky part. It's getting this in here. Because like I said, you got to make sure the seal is in there. You got to make sure you don't pinch the seal. You got to make sure those aren't lined up with each other, which they're not. You see one's here, one's here. Then you're going to see I got fluid here, which is great. Got my fluid on, got everything down. I'm going to tilt this down some so fluid's going to come out. Because the reason why I want it like that so I can get it at this level. And I just put it in real slow. So here we go. I just push it in slow. Make sure it don't pinch the O-ring. I just keep going real slow, soft. Back and forth, turn it like this. And then I just make sure I don't see the O-ring come out. Go like this real slow and turn it, keep turning it, make sure. Then after that, it's air in there, so it's holding me back. So I got to keep doing this. Then we'll come back once it's done. Okay, so like I got it pushed back in. Now we're just going to put the jam nut on. And once I get the jam nut tight, then I'll come back and show you how it is. Okay, I finished my final torque on, got that done. Line this back up with the pin. Remember, I'm coming from this other side over here, so I never took this side out. I'm just going to turn around and put that back in. Now the pin's in. Now we're going to put our washer back on first. We're going to put our snap ring on next. Washer, snap ring, that's it. And what I usually do from there, I usually clean it up a little bit. Bring it with my contact cleaner, because that just gets all of the oil and grease. That way I can see if it's leaking. You can see it's drying up, everything's drying up. Put a little bit of oil there. And that's it. So now what we'll do, we'll actually do our leak check. We're going to run it up and down 5 times to get the air out the system. You have to get the air out the system, make sure nothing's leaking. And then after that, we're done. So I'm going to go inside, connect the hydraulic lines back up. I don't need to show you that. Just connect the hydraulic lines back up. Once I get the hydraulic lines connected back up, like I said, I'll run it through 5 times, get the air out the system, make sure there's no leaks. But I'll come back and show you that. All right, so let me go connect the lines up and we'll go from there.
Up. Down.
Can you put that pan under that drain hole? Okay, that's it. Got everything done. Did our leak check. Ran it through 5 times to get all the air out the system. Now I got all this done. Now I can start cleaning the engine up so I could get the bottom paint on my boat done. Getting that done. Get the engine repainted. So now I was waiting to get all this done. Now I got all my leaks fixed. Everything's good. And that's the way, like I said, that's the way I do it. It's an unorthodox way of doing things. So it works for me. You notice how to disconnect these lines. Yeah, I got some fluid in the bucket, but you're going to get bucket fluid in there anyway. I got a little bit inside of my area, my bilge area, because I put too much hydraulic fluid or power steering fluid in there, so it came out. But that's okay. I'll rinse it out with the hose, and that'll be it. So thank you guys that you join, subscribe, click like if you like it. If not, I understand. But that's a simple way of doing it. That's it from Big Al.